book club, Figure Women, and we're doing today about biography. So we each choose a different biography that inspires us as well, and share some ideas and thoughts that we got from the book. So first.
What? Teresa, I'm trying to fix my speaker. Teresa from Kansas City, hello.
Yeah, Tammy from Arizona, and Ellen is from the Bay Area, right?
Yes.
Excellent. All right, who wants to start?
Ellen, you want to start? Or you want me to?
Oh, why don't you start?
Did you say why don't I start?
Yes.
Okay, I can't hear. Okay. My book was Barbara Cochran, Shark Tales. She was a real estate agent in New York, and now she is on the show Shark Tank, and goes over the different businesses, and decides if she's going to invest. My take from her book, she was very organized as a real estate agent. And very consistent. So she always had Monday meetings. She color coded everything, and she was always open to everyone on our team making complaints, as long as it was accompanied by a solution. You couldn't just complain to complain. You had to have a solution for the problem. And she suggests that you become the expert of real estate for your community. So you do a report comparing last year's sales prices to this year's, like something that interested her. She always wanted to compare to last year's market for the entire city, and she'd write an article about it, and then she would send it to the paper, and they would actually publish it. And I've been told, ironically, by 2 other people this week that they do the same thing. That magazines and newspapers are always looking for free articles, basically. So if you write up an article about anything, and then you put yourself down as the, and she called it the Cochran Report. So, I mean, you would use your name, like I'd call it the T. Fox Report. And you give it to them consistently every week or every 2 weeks. She did it every week. She does it every week. And you become the expert of real estate for your community. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah. Of course, she talks about if you're going to be a cheerleader, know the cheers. So she went to try out to be a cheerleader. She didn't even know the cheers. And she said it's the same thing with your business and your listing appointments. In real estate is basically know your scripts. Know your business, know your scripts, know the area, do your homework, and practice. And she used other people to promote herself. Like she did a market analysis for the newspaper, and Trump building wasn't in it, and so he called her, and then once she published his, he said, look at the Cochran Report, because he was building himself while building her. So I don't know if there's another agent in your community where you can say, not maybe list and say, hey, your businesses are in here, and they may promote you just because you're promoting them. And she talks about the importance of humility. She gave a speech in front of 850 people, and she couldn't speak. And so I know Mike Ferry talks a lot about getting outside your box, how important that is. And she talks about the same thing, how it pushed her. And then she was never very good in school and was always told that she was stupid and she couldn't focus and she was a daydreamer. And, basically that, and now she's this very successful business person. And she said the reason that she made it is you can't fake passion. And when she does the Shark Tank clients, she's not really looking for the business. She's looking for the passion, because she can tweak the business part of it. If they have the passion, she thinks she can make them successful. And she said, she said, fancy talk with big words is just a smokescreen. Overstaters always underperform, and gimmicks, and she's basically saying dumb it down. Don't walk into your client and use all these real estate terminology that they don't understand, or they don't, you know what I mean? They did that when I was a new agent, they would talk and I'd be like, what? So I know the client doesn't understand it. And then, hold on, I'm getting a call, sorry. And then She says gimmicks work. She talks about when she was younger, how there was a waitress with really big breasts that always made huge tips, and she didn't have huge breasts, so her mom told her to start putting ribbons in her hair. And her tips actually doubled when she did her hair a certain way. So she's saying, use your assets. As a woman, don't be afraid to look good, dress, to the nines, and use your assets as a woman. And then, let's see. And then when you tell a customer they can't have something, it makes them want it more. And so there's no hurry when they go home to think about it. You don't want them to think about it. You want them to sign. And then consistency on the reports. People start to rely on you for the information, and they do consider you the expert. Learn how to talk to the average Joe. And then she talks about just keeping it simple. So like one of her articles says, the market sucks. She said, you're sure to get quoted when you say the market sucks, because everyone can understand that. And she says to be truthful. Don't make the market sound great when it's not. Just say it, tell it how it is. And she said, always expand before you're ready. The most successful entrepreneurs expand before they are ready. And her success was always built on money she shouldn't have spent, but don't be afraid to fail. And if you want to build a successful business, you don't have to get it right. You just have to get going. And shoot the dogs early. Fire people. She fires complainers immediately. She does not tolerate any complainers on her team because they suck the energy in her entire team down. And she always cleans out the 25% of her sales force every year, the bottom 25%. So if you're not performing and you're under the 25%, you're out. So those are all the things I got out of her book. So it was actually a pretty good book. It was kind of, at the beginning I was like, oh boy. But she had some good tips. Yeah, so that was my biography.
Awesome.
Right.
You want to go next, Ellen?
Yes. So Teresa, that's cool, because you know what I love about that? Barbara she's in our business. She's in.
Right. I know.
That's cool. So among my biography, I went non-business, and I actually went towards an athlete, a woman named Diana Nyad. Diana, in 2013, swam from Cuba to Florida.
Oh, I heard about her.
Unassisted of course, she had people with her, surround her, but she didn't have a wetsuit. I can't remember how long it took her, but this is what I got out of Diana's book, and this is why I think she would be a great role model for us to look at. Two things. One is she completed this when she was 62 years old. She actually pursued this dream of swimming from Cuba to Florida in her 20s. It took her almost 2 years to see this to fruition. Multiple failures. I think she failed 5 times to do this particular swim before she finally completed it at age 62. That is amazing. What I found fascinating about her that I found very applicable to us is her training program. So if you're swimming for 24 to 72 hours, your training is pretty intense. And so she had 17, 18-hour swims in the ocean, unassisted. She had somebody with her in a kayak, but she's just in her head, nonstop swimming for 17 or 18 hours. And I actually pulled out a quote. Here, hold on. Because talk about somebody who had to have her dream in front of her. 40 years it took her to accomplish this. So this is the quote that I have on my board. What I've been truly living above and beyond these wonderful occasions and shared acclaim with is my inner voice. I'm reminded every day of the training of the failures, the unrelenting perseverance. She had to get up at 3 in the morning and go swimming for 18 hours. I don't even want to do something that feels good for 18 hours. You know, crazy. So she says, I thought that I never once chose to sleep in. I got up for those 12 to 18 hour swims. And I never once let a 12-hour swim stop at 11 hours and 59 minutes. I came home from those attempts and quietly went about putting it all together again. I've been living out loud the Henry David Thoreau saying, what you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals.
Oh, that's
nice. I like that.
And she talked about repetitious. Just thinking about up to 72 hours ocean by yourself. Shoot me. I mean, it's just, you know, some people don't want to drive for an hour, much less swim in the ocean for 72 hours. She's an incredible person.
Will you read the quote again? What you get from achieving your goals?
Yeah, what you get by achieving your goals is not as important as what you become by achieving your goals. So I think she had a pretty amazing goal, and she was relentless in pursuing it. And she talks about the people, her team, what she calls her team, the people who supported her in this, who believed in her. And you know, I think she's somebody that, granted, you can say, you know, she has natural gifts as an athlete, which makes sense. But at the same time, she did something so extraordinary that you can say she has to develop the mental toughness to continue on with something that is so physically grueling that most people can't even attempt it. They can't. Your body and mind won't even allow you to do it. She's really an amazing person. But what I got out of it was her training program, just the repetitious boredom and what it was able to do for her. And then, of course, then that, you know, just think of what we're becoming by what we're doing day after day, which is repetitious boredom. It's mind-numbingly boring. The things that we do, it's a grind. Become what we want to become. There's going to be a grind to everything in life, and you have to have the strength to get there. So it's a book. Diana and Maya. It was a good book.
Is there any way that we can, I don't know if we've done this, but send a copy of the book cover by our texting or whatever we do, so I can see what everybody's books are that they read?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember what it's called. Whatever that thing is on our, whatever app you set us up on, Tamara.
WhatsApp.
What's it? Okay.
That's so cool, Ellen. I remember reading about her. She just completed that recently, right? Like last year.
It was 4 years ago.
Oh my gosh, yes. I was trying to fix the sound. I put the earbud in thinking it might help. I don't know why that's doing that. So anyway, okay. Well, I read Richard Branson's book, The Virgin Way, but I'm actually going to change things up on us right now. I'm going to talk about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Do you guys know anything about him?
Mm-mm.
I watched a video about him, and I actually watched it twice because I loved it so much. I made my boyfriend watch it. And here's what I loved about his story is his vision. And that's what he talks about a lot. You know, his vision started when he was a 15-year-old boy. I think he was even younger than 15. And it was right after the war. And of course, Germany and Austria lost the war, as he says, thank God. And there was a lot of depression, a lot of alcoholism, and he just didn't want to stay there. And his family wanted him to to be a police officer and to marry a woman named Heidi, and you know, sing in the hills like the Von Trapp family. And he says that he was fortunate enough to come across this article about this one guy, Reg something or another, who was like world champion bodybuilder like 3 years in a row, and then became an actor in wasn't Conan, it was Hercules. He was an actor in the movie Hercules. And at 14 or 15 years old, Arnold Schwarzenegger created this vision for his life. And back up really quick. Before that, he had watched a documentary about America, and he decided he wanted out of Austria. He wanted to go to America. And basically what he was told by everybody is, you can't go to America. You don't have any money. People don't do that. You know, there's no way you can do it. Then when he saw the article about the bodybuilder, he clicked in his mind how he can get to America. But again, everybody told him, you can't do that. You're Austrian. Austrians aren't bodybuilders. You know, you need to ski or, you know, something else. But he stuck with it no matter what anybody said. And of course, you know, he was Mr. Universe 9 years in a row. And after that, he decided he wanted to be an actor. And the same thing, he went to Hollywood and everybody laughed at him and said, no way, there is no way you can be an actor. You have this horrible accent. We don't like your voice. You don't have the right kind of body. Well, and of course, you know how that story ended. He was in Terminator. He was in Conan the Barbarian. And one of the things he mentioned is that when they were talking about the success of the movie Terminator, they said that specifically that line from the movie, I'll Be Back, is going to go down in history as the most famous line in any movie because of the way he delivered that. So the very thing that they told him he couldn't be an actor for was the thing that made him famous for that. So then he went on to want to get into politics. And again, everybody said, you can't go into politics. Why would you do that? You're from Austria. Why would you want to do that? You're making $30 million a movie. Why would you want to go make $178,000 a year, blah, blah, blah. And of course, you know, he talks about how there was no way he wanted to go and be, you know, city council. He went for governor and governor of the greatest state in the country, the biggest state in the country, and never took a dime from the people. You know, that $178,000 salary, never collected it, and did a lot, brought to that office a lot of vision as well. And then he talks about giving back and how really he always wanted to give back because he loves this country so much, and all of this was due to America and how America is for him. And that's why he wanted to go into public service. And he has done a lot of work with like Special Olympics and different, and how he is inspired by his father-in-law. I forget his name, Maria Shriver's dad.
Shriver's dad.
Yeah, who started, what did he start? He started
Special Olympics.
And
Eunice Kennedy and yeah, so they started the Special Olympics.
And I think they also started, I don't know if it was Peace Corps, something like that. But so yeah, it was really, really inspiring story of his life, and how he just talks about, you know, when he was in the gym and pumping iron and working out 5 hours a day, and he would be in pain, and everybody else would have these grim looks on their face, and they would say to him, why do you smile? Why are you happy? And he's like, because every rep is getting me closer to America. You know, pain is temporary. He had his eye on the goal.
Wow.
So yeah, I was pretty inspired by him. And then of course, you know, the rest of the story, but you know, that stuff.
Well, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head that he had, he's a very distinctive person. The way he looks, the way he talks, the whole package is very distinct. And so isn't it interesting how, like what you said, something that people saw as a negative, he's never lost his Austrian accent. I don't know if he's working out. He still looks as inflated as he did 40 years ago. He still looks like a big guy. But at the same time, he always pursued what he's wanted to do, despite what people. It's I never really thought about that because he was our governor. He's a interesting character. He really is. Yeah. That reminds me. Do you know Dwayne Johnson, The Rock? You've heard that name?
Uh-huh.
He wrote an autobiography. I haven't read it yet, but he actually has a very interesting background, very similar to where he was, I think, a wrestler. And there was something at that point where people were just, they kept rejecting him. They kept booing him and really criticizing the guy. And at some point, he just started smiling. And it pissed off people even more. And he really got off on it. He's like, I'm smiling and I'm winning. And it's pissing people off. And I'm turning that anger, because anger is an energy. And he said, I kind of turned that around to take in that energy of people yelling at me and being angry with me. Just kind of turning it around and kind of keeping it motivated. I thought that was really unique. Really unusual. So if you want to read along the same, and he also became an actor. Idea of somebody kind of overcoming his physical limitations to become what he wants. You should read Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Oh yeah. I think I saw a video about him too. So that's The Rock. That's his real name, Wayne Johnson.
He's Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne Johnson. Oh, okay, I just know him as The Rock.
The Rock, yeah. Yeah. Cool.
So awesome. Well, too bad we lost Bianca today, but and next time we will be discussing, what did we decide on? Unshakable, right? By Tony
Unshakable.
Robbins.
Yeah. Can I say something about the biographies?
Yeah.
I did not want to read a biography. I don't know why. I've never had any interest whatsoever, and I've watched 2 documentaries so far because they've been so good. And then the book, my kids, I think I told you, we watched Walt Disney's Story. I was looking for the Necker Island, and we watched Walt Disney's Story, and my kids were mesmerized by his story. And it wasn't anything kid-oriented. It was just about all the stuff he went through to become who he is today. And his advice was, the best thing that can happen to you in life is to get kicked in the teeth. Because if he wouldn't have completely failed here in Kansas City, he would have never gone to California, and Disney wouldn't be what it is today.
Wow.
And so he says there's a reason for everything, and that made him stronger, and it made him fight harder the second time around. So I think the consistency is they all have been told no. They all went through horrible times financially. They all struggled, and they all consistently stayed with the game, and they were persistent, and they never took no as an answer, and they never gave up. That's the commonality that I've seen.
And they all had a very strong vision. They could see where they were going and what they wanted. And
well, that's not true with Walt Disney. He knew, he was like, I can't tell you what, he said, I just feel like I need to be here. I don't know why. Because he would go hang out at the studios, and they were like, why are you here? And he said, I don't know. There's a feeling inside of me that this is going to turn into something. So he had a strong vision of something's happening here, but he wasn't really sure what it is. So I thought that was interesting. But yeah, he had a big vision for, like you said, he did have a vision of, I want a place where families can go. And that's where Mickey Mouse came from. So, yeah.
Well, and it's interesting that you bring that up about, watching it with your kids, because one of the thoughts I was having was, wouldn't it be great? I mean, I know we did read biographies when we were kids in school and everything, but if kids were exposed to more of these types of biographies, because think about it. I mean, I had no clue what I wanted to do. My kids are looking at where they want to go to college. They have no clue. But Arnold Schwarzenegger, he happened upon a magazine article and it clicked for him. This is what I want to do. So to be exposed to people and ideas and things they do, and I just think it would be awesome to have a teacher that, shows a biography the last Friday of every month or something, just to expose you to greater ideas.
What they really need to do is Mike Ferry needs to start school for children.
No.
I wish I would have learned. Well, no, he's a little harsh. Maybe someone does it for him. But I love you, Mike Ferry, but let's be real.
Well, he did want to be a kindergarten teacher at one point. Can you imagine Mike as a kindergarten? I don't think so.
I can see it. Well, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger was in that movie Kindergarten Cop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't have a tumor.
That would be Mike Ferry blowing the whistle.
That would be my.
I told him to line up now.
Yeah.
Fascinating. You know, Teresa, that's a really good synopsis of each of these biographies. They do have that common thread of an individual having to believe in themselves so strongly that they're willing to look past the criticism and the lack of
failure,
belief and the endless failures. That's hard to do. I mean, and I think this is why there's the 5% of people in the world that achieve greatness and the 95% that don't. It's hard to go against the grain and to believe in yourself so strongly that even if your own family doesn't believe in you, you're still willing to do it.
Their families didn't believe in them, by the way.
Yeah. That's and I think about how many people fail, and then their families try to, and they do it out of the goodness of their heart. I truly believe that, but then they kind of pull them back down. And be satisfied with what little you have.
Yeah.
Put yourself out there, and then the dream just dies. And people then go to their grave going, well, I tried, but it didn't work out. That's sad. It's sad.
I agree. Life was made for living.
I heard somewhere, I don't remember where I heard this, but that the reason that people try to talk other people out of their dreams is because it threatens them, and that, you know, that part of themselves that already gave up or isn't even trying. So
yeah, it's a reflection. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, I believe families, like your parents, husbands, boyfriends, even adult kids, they have your best heart, and I think they see you hurting, and they want the hurt to go away.
Right.
And unless you do have, but also think about it. Who in your family has achieved something so beyond what everybody else thought that they could achieve, and they in turn could be a sort of mentor for you? I think it's rare. I think it is rare. I think more often we can look at our families and say, you know, there's somebody who gave up on his dream and settled. There's a woman who decided she couldn't do it and settled. That doesn't mean they're horrible people. That doesn't mean God doesn't love them. That doesn't mean that they're bad people. They settled for what they could have, and I think that they look to not pull you down so much, but try to relieve the pain that you're feeling by telling you it's okay to settle. It's not the message you want to hear, though. You want to hear that. Don't give up. Don't.
Right.
You know, keep going.
You can do it. Yeah, we believe in you. We know you have it in you.
Exactly.
There's greatness in you.
It all comes down to self-worth with all of them, with family, with whoever's telling you that. It all comes back down to self-worth. If you really believe in yourself and you think of yourself as worthy, you're not going to listen to it.
Yeah. But Teresa, you know, it's hard not to listen to your mom. You know, it's hard not to listen to your dad who's saying, you have a mortgage to pay, you have kids to take care of, you have to do this. What do you mean you want to open your own brokerage? You know,
you should watch the Walt Disney show.
Yeah, exactly. What do you mean you want to move to St.
Father hated when he did not want him drawing at all. He got in trouble when he was drawing.
Yeah.
You know, I have to say I agree with you, Teresa, about, you know, when you're really strong in your conviction, because I actually experienced that. One of I really feel this is one of my bigger challenges is kind of, you know, my mom and my sister not getting what I do and, you know, why I do it and just not understanding. And I remember when I decided to go see Tony Robbins, and I was really excited about it and really clear. And my sister was like, oh, why do you want to do that? And, you know, wouldn't you rather go somewhere fun, and you're not going to learn anything new? But I was so strong. I had wanted to do it for so long, and I was so clear that it was a very different experience for me. You know, when I was able to say, oh, I'm not going there to have fun. You know, that's not the purpose here. And I was able to be strong. But other things, you know, I still feel that, like, where it gets in my head when they make those comments, you know.
It does.
Protect the bubble. Protect the bubble.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, I have to sign off, but I'm looking forward to reading Tony. I've never read a Tony Robbins book, believe it or not.
Oh no, it's fine. This has a different quality to it. It's about money. And well, the other one, Money Matters or Mastery or whatever, was about money too, but I think it's a little bit long. This one's a little more concise, which is nice.
He had to dumb it down.
Did they dumb it down?
The dumbed down one.
Oh my gosh, the other one was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right, see you guys next week.
Woo! See ya.